Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and joining me today to talk about United's victory against Manchester City in the FA Cup final is Bruce. How's it going, mate?
Fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Elated.
How long have we waited to say those words?
Oh, all season long. All season long. Oh, I've got the biggest smile on my face. I'm shattered as well. By the time I went to bed, it was like 5 a.m.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, I, I think people will be able to tell by my voice that I had a few drinks after the game yesterday, to
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah.
Maybe overdid it a wee bit, um, but but it was worth it. Um, United were simply brilliant in the first half, I thought, and were full value for the 2-0 lead. Obviously, when City made the subs at half time, they came back into the again and put us under pressure, but United held out despite the best efforts of Onana. And that was disappointing from Onana because I thought he was having a good game up until that point. I think we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from him yesterday. But yeah, so many great individual performances. How good was Kobe Mainoo yesterday, Brush?
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But not just him. A proper team performance. We saw the difference having our our first choice back pairing made in Rafa Varane and Martinez. Martinez, we just can't live without him, can we?
No, we can't. Yeah, we had that. It was like the last dance for Varane and Martinez yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was yeah. My only issue was like maybe with fitness and that, but yeah, no, they did really well, man. They did really well. I was very impressed with Wan-Bissaka as well. The job he done on Doku, Scott McTominay, the job he done on Rodri, and yeah, it's so nice to be able to sit here and say we fully deserved the win. Like it wasn't by fluke. We know, going into this match, it was maybe a David versus Goliath type of thing, but we fully deserved it. Fully.
yeah, and I think one of the reasons why we're so happy, well, there's many reasons why we're happy about this. Obviously, winning the FA Cup being the main reason, but the fact that we were 8-1 outsiders, it was against Manchester City. We weren't given a prayer, and we played really well in the game. As you said, off air, it wasn't a complete fluke, where we were dominated for 90 minutes and then scored from a corner at the end to snatch it. United went 2-0 up and deservedly so. Now, the first goal was a mistake by Man City, which Garnacho pounced upon. I think it was Vardiol headed it over Ortega.
Absolute howler from him. And yeah, we are somewhat fortunate, but you still have to be there to press to get on the end of that, and finish off the chance. So all credit to Garnacho for not giving up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second goal was just a wonderful move.
Oh, beautiful. The pass into Mainoo, the fact that he took it first time. When I saw it from the other angle, I did wonder if Ortega could have done a bit better there because it wasn't like far into the corner. I felt like he might have been able to get a hand to it. But yeah, brilliant move, brilliant finish. And we're very unlucky as well with the offside. Otherwise, we would have been three up.
Yeah, definitely where Rashford's goal was disallowed. Yeah, disappointing. I think he was just about offside there, Garnacho. But yeah, what about Rashford's ball to Garnacho in the build up to the second goal as well? That was absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, it
And
was
then the one
fantastic.
and then the one touch football, the assist from Bruno Fernandes just out of this world.
Hmm.
Most number tens were taking a touch there and had a shot, but he was just the awareness of knowing where Manu was just fantastic.
And the composure of Mainoo as well. To get
Yeah,
himself there and to take it first time the way he did. Mature beyond his years. I think we've said that several times about him this season.
yeah, I just love watching him. How good he's just brilliant on the ball. The way he just glides past defenders, the ball sticks his
Shout
feet like
out,
glue.
yeah, shout out to Amrabat as well. He's actually given a good account of himself in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah, I thought he was tremendous yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what he is? Since he's come into the team, he's kind of given Menu a new lease of life. Menu's performances were dipping,
Hmm.
because I felt like he was playing a role that doesn't the number six role. This wasn't. which isn't his favourite position. But since Amrabat has occupied the number six, he's kind of released Mainoo, and we're seeing the best of him again. So yeah, Amrabat is not brilliant on the ball, but his defensive work is
Yeah,
absolutely
and I think the
fantastic.
key as well is that we started playing Amrabat properly in his position, and that's been rewarded now.
Yeah, like, some fans were so delighted with Amrabat's performance yesterday that we're now talking about giving him a permanent contract. Would
I,
you-
the jury's still out on that one for me.
yeah, I would, I- if we were going to do that, I would like it to be like a 1 year rolling contract. I wouldn't want to give him 5 years. I think
Yeah,
that would
because
be,
he's what 28 now, isn't he? And I think our option is about 20 million. So yeah,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one. But as you say, yeah, the back four, it did really well yesterday. Obviously, there was a lot of protection. It looked like quite a defensive team when the team sheet was released, but
hmm
it was a tactical masterclass from Ten Hag, and we don't say that very often.
yeah, it really was, and they all pulled together. The defense, obviously, when the first choice pairing are back there, they all high five each other whenever they make a clearance and stuff, and that was great to see. That's what we've really missed this season. We've had over 30 different back fours over the course of the season, with the various injuries and fitness issues and whatnot. And yeah, in key positions, we need to have our key players to lay the foundation for anything we're building going forward.
Yeah, it was only the sixth time this season that Varane partnered Martinez. The first three matches of the season, then against Newport and Wolves, and again yesterday. And
Mm.
so they're absolutely crucial. The the reason why Varane is going is not because of his ability, it's because of his lack of availability and
Yes,
many injuries. But his replacement is going to have to be at a similar level to him, I think.
absolutely. And he's not the only one we're losing. I think Johnny Evans will probably retire, no?
You would think so, yeah. He's
Yeah, yeah,
I seen that a post online that Johnny Evans now completed the set. He's now literally won it all. Now,
yep.
I didn't think that he got a medal in the 2008 Champions League, but apparently he did.
Mm,
He didn't really come into the first team picture until the season after.
yeah.
But this is what I think was even the FA Cup's official Twitter account put out that he's now won
Mm.
everything. Yeah, he had to come on for Licha with about 20 minutes to go because I think he was getting cramp, Martinez, because he played so little football.
Yeah, because he hadn't finished 90 minutes, had he? So yeah, that was always a concern going into this. It was just a matter of when he was going to come off,
Yeah,
not
it
if.
was it was probably always the plan, to take him off at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. And then with Johnny, credit to him as well. Like despite me laughing at the suggestion of getting him last summer, he's been very, very, very steady. He's been very steady, reliable whenever called upon, and his experience helped us.
Yeah, um, we all thought that he was just going to be a fringe player, but because of the injuries,
hmm
he's been a big part of the team this season. I don't think he's going to have another season in him at his age. I think he's really
No.
s- struggled with the pace of the Premier League at times. Like, he reads the game really well, but
hmm
you see his legs are starting to let him down now and picking up injuries. So I think this would be a perfect way for him to buy out.
It would,
Um,
it would, and I'll tell you what. Uh, it's quite unfortunate actually for Maguire because he's been out injured for the last couple of weeks. Because despite all of the criticism, he's had a very solid season.
Yeah, really unfortunate that he didn't get the tech part yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be. And Luke Shaw as well. We seen him after the game, and he would have been. He would have, if he played, that would have been our strongest team probably.
yeah. Well, mind you, credit to Dallo though. I was happy with Dallo yesterday.
Yeah, and again, not often I say that.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
There was
he
about what there was one there was one chance that Dallo had where he sort of cut inside, and it was like Cristiano Ronaldo esque. Unfortunately, the shot he took was Nani esque.
yeah, it was miles wide.
Yeah, yeah,
I think he's seen the headlines there. It's safe to say that Dallo is not lacking in confidence when it comes to his
yeah, yeah.
ability.
Yeah, I saw that whole move and I was just like, yeah, it's Cristiano to Nani in a split second.
I know Nani did score for a few crackers.
Oh, he
He was good.
did, yeah. The one against Tottenham comes to mind. But yeah, he
Yeah.
had a few absolutely amazing goals. Oh,
So another brilliant aspect of to yesterday was seeing Fergie not only singing "Glory, Glory, Man United," but checking his watch at 2-0. How many times have we seen that down the years?
yes, and we might need Pep to start wearing suits more often. I think that might have contributed to his downfall.
Yeah, good to see his spikiness again. He claimed that the better team lost.
Do you know
Um,
what? It's a very Jose-esque. It's a very Jose type response. That
yeah, yeah, it was good to see him stressed out yesterday on the sideline when they were 2-0 down.
definitely, definitely. We don't see it often enough. Kevin De Bruyne, we need to talk about him again. A final, and he goes missing. Very quiet. Haaland, I know he shot against the bar, but aside from that, we didn't really see too much of him. Yeah, we just did very well in containing them.
Yeah. Do you know what? When Holland hit the crossbar and then when Julian Alvarez missed that gilt edge chance, that's
Yeah,
when I started to believe it's going to be our day because those
yeah,
normally
yeah,
go in for
yeah,
City.
yeah. My
Um,
one worry though, Carl, like going into all matches, like you probably know already, is that Anana's always got a mistake in him. And I'm never confident anytime the ball comes near that guy. And yeah, I thought he ruined it. I thought, oh, geez, is this going to be Coventry all over again? Are they going to take this into extra time? But we saw it out.
yeah, because he done really well up until that point. He saved a couple of
Yeah.
long range efforts from Kyle Walker.
hmm
He was collecting corners, punching corners.
I'll tell you what, despite his age, I was very impressed with Carl Walker. Um,
His pace is unbelievable. I mean,
it's amazing. The way he outpaced Rashi in the first half. And he's what, like 33, 34?
yeah, it's just it's quite incredible the speed of the man at
Yeah.
his age. And Rashford, he beats Rashford for pace every time we play
Yeah,
against City.
yeah, yeah. The only slight criticism of Rashi I had, it was he was very half-hearted on the press. But we know that he doesn't really track like he should.
Well, I have to give him credit. Um, compared to the rest of the season, he tried hard yesterday.
But
Uh,
yeah, yeah, in comparison to what we've seen before this season, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that
But
that's
I did have a feeling at some point if we need to make changes, like yeah, he's going to be the one to make way, as he was. And shout out to Hoyland as well. He came on and did a job.
yeah, he did really well at the holding the ball up, and he was smart enough at the end there not to go for goal. He turned back and just kept possession,
Yes,
which was a smart
yes,
thing to do.
exactly. Very smart. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we like to see.
Yeah, I think that was probably always in the plan as well to get him on
hmm
when we're winning the game and get it, or if we're losing, to try and get a goal. But if we're winning, which we were, it's a good idea to get him on to hold the ball up and challenge those city's defenders in the air and don't let them have free headers. So and that worked to perfection too. Um, yeah, we nearly scored on the counter attack at the very end, didn't we? And then
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was a foul committed by Julian Alvarez on Amrabat, and that
Yes, yes. Had that ball made it through, yeah, it would have been interesting. But yeah, I'm very happy to play it smart. In the closing stages, I was just like, oh, you know what, just run to the corner, just retain
yeah.
possession.
What did you make of Bruno shooting from the halfway line again rather than just keeping possession?
It's typical Bruno behavior, isn't it? It's just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's something that he's just never going to change, is he?
No, you can't change that about him, unfortunately. You can try your best, but once in a while he will still do that. Just it's what comes naturally to him. But on days like yesterday, like we won't complain.
Yeah, and uh, another new thing we can say is there wasn't anyone who played badly for United.
No, 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 no. Yeah, a credit to Ten Hag as well, because the speech he gave on the last day of the season, rallying the troops. Also, another thing we need to get into, all the hoo-ha the day before the cup final. We knew this was a very tough game going into it. Without the added stress of all the media reports that he's been sacked and he's going. So that was unnecessary stuff to deal with on the eve of the FA Cup final. There was an air of LVG about the whole thing. And if he does go and the stuff leaked, I think it was held, I think it was dealt with very poorly by the club. But obviously, time will tell. We have to wait for official word if he is departing or not.
You see, it's very hard to keep it quiet if you're approaching other managers, because
Yeah.
I'm just using this as an example, and this might not necessarily be the case, but this is the type of thing that could happen if United or I've talked to McKenna's representatives,
Hmm.
and then Chelsea do that, and then Chelsea are told that he's waiting for the Man United job. Then it gets leaked out to the press.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like, I don't think it's on the club. I think obviously, these things happen. It's just when it does come out, it looks very unprofessional and disrespectful. Whilst we have a manager in charge.
although if he's already been told privately,
Yeah,
uh, then it's
yeah.
not
I mean, they
it's
did
not
press
so
him yesterday in the interviews afterwards. Gary Lineker asked him straight, and yeah, by Ten Hag's body language, his body language showed no confidence whatsoever. But I don't know if I'm reading too much into that. We'll just have to wait and see.
yeah. Hold. It was before the game, after the game. I knew this
Yeah,
was coming. That he's going to get questions about his future.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and he says if they don't want me, I'll go and win the trophy somewhere else. So
Listen, as
yeah,
he should. Sometimes you do have to just be, a little bit arrogant because, listen, 2 seasons, 2 trophies. Fair play.
yeah, absolutely. Just that the eighth place finish is on the minus goal difference is just going to count, is going to
Yeah,
count
but
against him.
like you said, and we know as well, like all the issues that we've had this season have contributed. I think the one annoying thing for you and me and others has been the tactics and the naivety. In recent weeks against Brighton as well, we saw him switch it up finally. Um, maybe the penny dropped a bit too late, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Ten Hag constantly bangs on about the injuries and not having the
Hmm.
personnel that he needed to get results, but you don't you don't need to have certain players to be compact, and that's what United were yesterday.
Yeah,
And in the previous two games, they were compact, and they weren't through
absolutely.
for most of the season. They haven't been.
Our midfield didn't get ran through in the last 2 games, whereas we have been, and that's where the naivety and all of that comes in. So yeah, if he does get himself sacked, it's only down to his own naivety and that. But this is why I also say that I don't mind too much if he rides out the final year because now he's got structure above him, and if other people are dealing with the transfers and you take that away from him, I don't really mind. You know, and again, with new owners when they come in, they have their own ideas. And my thing's always been that if you do that, if you've got a proper plan in mind, then cool, I'm with it. But if there isn't a better alternative, then you might as well stick it out with what we have.
So the Athletic did a poll after the game. I think it was Andy Mitten, and he asked, "Do you want Ten Hag to stay?" And
Mm.
84% said yes. And he showed that poll to Ten Hag, and obviously he was happy about it. Um, but us as fans, we're allowed to get emotional by I'm sure there's plenty of fans who were thinking that Ten Hag should go before yesterday's game and have now changed their
Oh, I
mind.
think those people. I think if you ask them just in the aftermath of the cup, they're going to be elated, aren't they? But you have to think of these things with a clear head once that's calmed down.
Yeah, fans are allowed to be emotional and
Yeah,
base their judgment on an FA Cup final, but the people running the club cannot make decisions based on emotion,
yeah.
and I very much doubt that a billionaire would. Uh,
Hmm.
so I would say this is not going to change their minds if indeed they have decided to
Yeah.
sack him. So
But
it,
for me, it does show a certain level of competence, though, the fact that he is able to pull off something like this. Um,
yeah, I think the only disappointing thing about yesterday is that they haven't done this more often.
yeah,
It,
absolutely, absolutely.
it show obviously you can't play like that in the majority of games because
Hmm.
you know we've surrendered possession yesterday. We had 27% possession or something. When you're playing against the majority of the teams in the Premier League, United can't play that way. They have to be
Mm,
proactive and
mm-hmm,
take the game to teams. Yesterday was obviously a lot of rearguard action, and that suits what we have really. How many times even under Solskjaer were we good at being compact and getting bodies behind the ball and then playing on the counter attack and winning games that way against Manchester City, of course, as
mm-hmm.
well. I think Solskjaer won four times against Guardiola. So I think the low block counter attack really suits the players that we have, and Ten Hag just didn't seem to realize that until yesterday. He really wanted to play his style of football this season, and it didn't work. Now, last season was much
Yeah,
better whenever he was pragmatic, and if he goes back to being more pragmatic, we might get better results. So, yeah, I fully sympathise with the injury crisis, but he's made a lot of mistakes himself, like we've discussed all season.
yeah.
So it will obviously do his chances no harm by winning yesterday, but I don't think it's going to change
I mean,
Jim
the
Ratcliffe's mind.
managerial merry-go-round this summer is going to be epic. There's so many free agents about, a lot of clubs looking for managers as well. So yeah, a lot of pieces to fall into place. On the McKenna thing, personally for me, I know he's done an amazing job at Ipswich Town, back-to-back promotions. Surely he owes it to himself to take that group into the Premier League and at least spend the season there.
But he might only be offered the United job once in his lifetime. That's the
I
thing.
don't know. He's young enough that I think, that I think opportunities will continue to come his way. I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah, because yeah, surely you'd want to see that through as well. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit of a surprising one, that one. But again, if they
Although,
do go for him, I totally understand it's a project and whatnot, so it's gonna have to be long term,
but
and fans would have to be patient with it as well.
he won't say this publicly, McKenna, but he might be thinking that it's going to be difficult to keep this team in the Premier League.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. Listen, for them to survive in the Premier League is, yeah, like we've seen the likes of Luton and whatnot this season, and it's probably going to be a similar situation. But I just think, after two back-to-back promotions, you probably owe it to yourself to try. But I don't know, man. I don't know. You're probably right. It's probably one of those where if United or if someone else comes calling, it's probably too big of an opportunity to say no, right?
yeah, I wouldn't give up the Ipswich job for Brighton, but I would for
No,
Manchester United.
yeah. Yeah, and then Chelsea's a bit of a poison chalice, if you ask me, especially given their recent history in sacking managers. Um, the
Yeah,
Pochettino one really confused me actually because he finally started to get that team to tick. Uh,
yeah,
5 wins on the bounce, managed to get them into Europe and finish sixth. So yeah, to then sack him is a bit strange.
yeah. It's just Chelsea all over that. It's almost as if Roman didn't leave.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you could say that Chelsea were making progress on defend.
Hmm.
Like if the season started on January 1st, they would be fourth. So it was absolute ridiculous decision.
Yeah.
But having said that, I wouldn't swap Ten Hag for Pochettino.
Hmm. Hmm. But there are a lot of experienced managers knocking about now. The likes of Poch, Tuchel's out of a job, I think, at
Mm,
Bayern.
no,
Um,
no, no. I don't want Tuchel either.
Jose Mourinho's knocking about. Max Allegri. Yeah,
No.
I don't really
Y-
fancy any of them, but there are a lot of
Yeah,
experienced managers about.
pretty much all the names you mentioned there are yesterday's men, in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion.
And it's more the brand of football that irks me, but they do come with a wealth of experience. So.
Yeah, Tuchel is to me is the German Mourinho, and I don't think that's the right fit for Manchester United.
And not as good as Mourinho. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And we've tried that experiment, and it didn't really work. And he's
yeah.
very, very, very short term as well,
Hmm.
and just like Mourinho.
But
Um,
yeah, oh, and also another point as well. Obviously, with the FA Cup win, we qualify for Europe. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I am actually excited and happy that we're now in the Europa.
yeah, and I think Jim Radcliffe will be as well because
Yeah,
we would have lost out on a lot of match day revenue if we
yeah,
were.
absolutely, and not just that. Like, when we talk about progression, like last season we had the Carabao, this season we got the FA Cup. A realistic aim for next season should be to go out and win that Europa League.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to need a strong squad though to be able to compete in all
Oh,
fields.
absolutely. But ultimately, we want to be back at the top, right? So you got to get used to whatever level you're playing at to be playing two
And
game times a week and to play in Europe and whatnot. So yeah, you need to have a big squad.
and it's not an easy competition to win, as Leverkusen will tell
No,
you.
no, and that's the thing. I was looking at it, Carl, and very rarely do the teams that used to drop down from the Champions League to the Europa go on to win the Europa. It's usually teams that are just qualifying for the Europa and in that competition. I think,
Yeah,
like, maybe Sevilla aside.
I did have a chuckle yesterday that because we won the FA Cup,
Hmm.
Newcastle were dumped out of Europe and Chelsea were
They
relegated to the
were,
Europa Conference
yeah,
League.
yeah, to the conference, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a bit mad how it all works, to be fair. Um, it, if I'm being honest, like, it's not something I agree with. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, I think. So a 38 game season should determine all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is what it is.
But it's always been the way because I remember
Yeah.
even Millwall being in the UEFA Cup,
Hmm.
whenever they got to the FA Cup final. Um, yeah, so United automatically go into the Europa League now. So we will have European football next season, and we won't miss out on all that match day revenue, which is vital, really, given how we
Yes.
have to abide by the PSR rules. Which
Yes, and
I think
also just great experience as well for the lads. Because we got absolutely embarrassed in the Champions League group stages, and we don't want a repeat of that when we do get there again. So we need to start taking Europe a bit more serious at whatever level we're at.
there is the argument that, and I would probably agree with it. There's no point in being in the Champions League if you're not capable of winning it, and
Yeah,
United
I
are
think
miles off that at the moment.
yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Where I'm always like, well, it's kind of like the lottery, like you've got to be in it to win it, kind of thing. Uh, I can't help but dream when we are there, but then I see us play and just cry. But yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. You need to be at a certain level to be in the Champions League anyway, and yeah, I think this is a good stepping stone. If we can, put a marker down and get really far in the Europa, or should really be aiming to win it, then that sets us up well for Champions League afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, if Ten Hag's here, he'll be aiming to make it
Hmm.
3 trophies in 3 seasons.
Absolutely, and it's no mean feat. It's no joke. As Leverkusen found out after their unbeaten, incredible run, um, they got beaten at their own game. I don't know if you saw the final with Atalanta. It
I
was a
did, yeah.
brilliant game. And I don't even think Leverkusen played that badly. I just think Atalanta were really at the races, and an incredible hat trick as well by Lookman, who a lot of Premier League fans will remember from lackluster, underwhelming time at Everton and Fulham,
And
where he had that Penenka penalty miss.
I think he just had a really good day at the office, because he still, prior to that final, he'd only scored 12 goals for Atalanta
Yeah,
this season.
and
So
what a hat trick as well! Like, all of those goals were quality.
yeah, so I seen a few people online saying that United should be looking at him like, no, no way.
No, no, no. I think that is the equivalent of us getting excited when we see players at World Cups and international tournaments.
Yeah, because immediately then I checked his
Yeah,
goal record, and he's
yeah,
never
yeah,
really had a prolific season.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do think he'll do a good job for like a mid-table team, but yeah, no, no
Yeah,
thanks.
he's not at the level that we want. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm going to do some player ratings, and for the first time this season, I'm actually looking
actually
looking.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. So
This makes a change.
Andre Onana, this would have been a high score only for the clanger.
Yes,
Um,
and it was a clanger. And I tried to look at it from his perspective. I tried to look at it from the other angle, and there was a player ever so slightly blocking his view. But no, he should get to that all day, every day. There's no excuses for that.
yeah, I think you're right. There was someone impeding his view, but
Yeah,
no, he should have went with it with one hand. He went with two hands.
absolutely. And just pushed it into the net. And going forward, this is a real concern for me because as good as we say he is, if you're giving up goals like that, what chance do we have? Like, we're gonna get caught out.
Yeah, and he said many games like that this season where he's played well for the majority of the game, and
Yeah.
then he's made a mistake.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and
did
I
that.
don't know if you saw the interview with Gary Neville he did a couple of days ago on the overlap. A very confident guy, nice enough and that, but yeah, yeah, like the mentality's there. I just don't know. His goalkeeping ability though, just I don't know.
Yeah, he just can't seem to play well for 90 minutes.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, yeah,
So I'm gonna downgrade him to a six. He did make a
yeah.
couple of good saves from Kyle
Mhm.
Walker, and he was good at defending corners.
Yeah,
He caught the ball when he needed to, and he fisted it when he needed to, and he got good distance on it when he
yes.
fisted them.
One or two of his balls out though, I was like, oh, it's a bit risky when he was
I
trying to play out.
Yeah, he hit when the ball's at his feet as well, and
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, please, just don't mess around. Yeah, don't.
just get rid of it.
Just get rid of it. Yeah.
So Wan-Bissaka's performance against Daku, that would have to be an eight for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought he was exceptional. I was very impressed with him. Um,
yeah, everybody just gave their all yesterday, and they got the rewards.
yes.
Um, so Varane, there'll have to be another eight for me. Absolutely
Mhm.
brilliant.
Mhm.
Uh, Won everything in the air. There was a few dangerous crosses where he intercepted the ball from going to Haaland by winning, like heading it over him. You know, he got a good
Yeah.
contact on his headers. Um, yeah, he just showed all his experience and his brilliance yesterday. I love the he done the the celebration he does when United win big games where he goes yeah yeah yeah. You seen him doing that with Dallo yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It was.
similar to what Klopp does to the cop. You know,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
seems to be
Yeah. Proper Kodak moment. That. Um. Yeah. With that one. Oh, see again. I don't know if it's the adrenaline from the FA Cup, but I'm thinking like I did wonder, could we not have offered him like a 1 year deal on much lower wages?
yeah. As soon as it was communicated that his contract was up at the end
Yeah.
of the season and that United were looking to reduce his wages, I
Mm.
was thinking they're not going to agree a deal here. He's going to go at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Um,
he's probably like Saudi bound or something, isn't he? The only thing that irks me is that obviously we're not getting any kind of transfer fee. And yeah, the only other issue I had with him, obviously, the injuries aside, is the fact that he was on such big wages. But if he's on a fraction of that, I wouldn't mind just having him as a rotational option.
yeah, well, it looks like that ship is sealed now, and
But
that'll
that,
be.
yeah, it's gone now, isn't it?
But but just like with Johnny Evans, it's the perfect way to bow out.
Yeah, it is really. And on the bright side as well, I guess this opens up a chance to go out and get a proper centre back.
Definitely, on a left back as well.
Yes.
Um, so Lissandro Martinez has to be a nine for me. Another one of his excellent displays. Not
Every
only,
time we see him, Carl, he just reminds us of what we've missed all season.
yeah, and he wins so many headers for a guy who's like what
Who's 5 foot
5
nine?
yeah.
And not just that, his forward passing, just his all round game, just it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think he's crucial to the way Ten Hag wants to play. You know,
Yes.
you miss his distribution when he's not there. And yeah, just a brilliant all-round footballer, and the
Hmm.
commitment of the guy is absolutely fabulous as well. Um, so 9 out of 10 for him. Dallo, yeah, I thought it was a really good performance. I
Hmm.
don't say that often. Um,
Yeah, we know how you feel about that,
yeah, what I've been saying beforehand is that he had to be disciplined and don't be
Yeah, yeah,
heading into the centre forward
yeah.
position when we're playing against Man City. He did that for the most part, although as you said, he get into a shooting position on the edge of their box and put
Hmm.
it a mile wide, and really fancies himself as a bit of a striker. But yeah, for the most part, he was disciplined yesterday and done his role really well. D- so I would say an eight for Dallo. Um, can you even remember anything that Foden, Bernardo Silva, or De Bruyne did yesterday? Because I can't. You know,
Not really, not really. And yeah, and Foden scares me because obviously his record against us is ridiculous as well. But yeah, no, we everybody did their job.
thankfully it was the Mainoo show yesterday and not the Foden show.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm absolutely delighted about that
yeah.
because it's not
And
what
they were saying
anticipated.
as well, it was the first time two teenagers have scored in a cup final, or in the
That's
FA Cup
right. Yeah.
final. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, and it just had to be Man United
Hmm.
to to do that with our famous academy. Of course, it's not the first time a teenager has scored for Man United in an FA Cup final. Norman Whiteside, of course, famously did that against Everton in the 1980s, and when he was, I think he was very young at the time. Uh, I think did he score in two FA Cup finals? And older fans might be able to tell me better, but I do
Hmm.
remember one. I think it was the 1985 final where he scored that curler against Everton. Which won the game. I think it was the first ever standing off in an FA Cup final in that game as well.
Hmm.
Um, there was a yeah, the United centre back. He's from Dublin. What's his name? He was the first ever player to be sent off in an FA Cup final.
McGrath?
Uh, Kevin Moran.
No.
That's what it
Ah.
was. Yeah, because that's always a quiz question. Uh, yeah, but we won that game, and bizarrely, even though Whiteside was a winger. He was wearing number 4 that day when he scored that curler against Everton. That's a strange number for a winger to wear. But anyway, um, so Kobe Mainoo, it's going to have to be a 10 for me. I just thought he was absolutely brilliant from start to finish. Um, just his close control, his ability on the ball, the way he just glides past players, and his composure in front of goal. Uh, yeah, he just absolutely immense, and it's scary that he's only just turned 19. I mean, how good
Yeah.
is he going to be? He's no,
And the thing is, as well, he's so good on the ball, like technically, and he's so calm. And I think we've said this before as well. I can see him playing further forward. So when we get a proper DM that sits, I
yeah,
can see him roaming forward.
yeah, and like I said, Amrabat has released Mainoo in recent weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, so fantastic because his form had dipped a wee bit, and you'd expect that from a young teenager, but he's back to his best again. And yesterday, he couldn't have picked a better match to drop that type of performance. Just you simply run out of superlatives. You know what more can you say at this
Hmm.
point? Um, the goals that he has scored this season have just been absolutely brilliant as well.
Yep.
Um,
The finish against Liverpool. Oh,
yeah, the solo goal against Wolves is probably still my
hmm.
favorite. We just he took it past about 3 or 4 defenders, and we in that Wolves game we just conceded a 97th minute equaliser, and we were distraught that we'd thrown away another game, and then he does that. Unbelievable. Um, so Amrabat, uh, excellent yesterday. He done a superb defensive job in front of the back four. He was everywhere. He must have covered every blade of grass.
Yep.
Um, so I'm going to go with a 9 for Amrabat. Alejandro Garnacho, absolutely brilliant. And once again, to me, he plays his best football on the right. You know, to accommodate other players, he's been shipped out to the left recently and hasn't done that well. Back on the right again yesterday, and he was fantastic.
He just
Obviously,
plays fearlessly, doesn't he? He just it's so full of energy. He just keeps going at him. Love it. Love to see it.
yeah, he took his opportunistic goal very well.
Yep.
He obviously was heavily involved in the second goal. He
Hmm.
was involved in the goal that was disallowed, and he worked really hard as well. He
Yeah,
was
he was integral to everything good going forward. He had a shot as well, near post that was saved in the second half. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he was constantly helping out the fullback. There's no doubt about that. He was working his socks off,
Hmm.
which obviously everybody had to do yesterday in order to beat a team as good as City, the best team in the world, as Ten Hag called them. Um, so Garnacho would get a 9 from me. Bruno Fernandes, absolutely brilliant again. That assist was out of this world.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and his all round performances, he showed real leadership yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, and he would get a 9 as well. And Scott McTominay, um, yeah, as you said, he done a real good job on Rodri. That was
Yeah.
Ten Hag really does like the man marking. You know, that's
Hmm.
a tactic that he uses a lot, and sometimes, like yesterday, it really pays off. But I could see the Scott McTominay was tiring And I thought Mason Mount should have come on a lot earlier. And
Hmm.
when McTominay was eventually substituted, he was limping off. He was absolutely spent. Yet Ten Hag seemed to be the only one in the stadium who couldn't see it. I felt I think McTominay should have come off about 20 minutes before he actually did. He
Yeah.
was
I
done.
mean, listen, we saw it last season when he ran Rashi into the ground.
Yeah. So McTominay would get an 8 out of 10 from me. And Marcus Rashford, his best performance for a very, very long time. And he had no match fitness whatsoever. So fair play to him. That crossfield ball for the second goal was absolutely fantastic. Mainoo actually started that move, but he played the
Hmm.
ball to Rashford and then he got on and then he finished the move off as well. Um, but Rashford, yeah, for once actually worked hard. I know you say it still wasn't enough, but he
It's more than what we've seen.
he actually he definitely broke sweat yesterday. Let's just say.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so an 8 out of 10 for Rashford as well. And
And unlucky as well. Like he should have been on the score sheet as well. Really, we need to time those things slightly better to make sure it's onside.
yeah, definitely. And Ten Hag would get a 10 out of 10 from me, and that's the first time probably I've ever said that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he got it tactically spot on yesterday.
yeah.
The personality pick, the way the team was set up,
Hmm.
just the tactics, everything was right yesterday, and it had to be for in order to United to beat a team as good as City. So fair play to him, and he might have saved his job by doing that. But
Yeah.
if it was up to the fans, that would absolutely be the case. But I don't think that Radcliffe and his team are going to base their decision based on one game. It's not how
Hmm.
he's become. You know, people don't go from being working class to being a billionaire by making decisions based on emotion. He's
Yeah,
obviously
no, you
very
got to leave emotion at the door. You got to, just be meticulous in your planning and thinking and analytics. And I'm sure they will be doing that.
well. Their brief is has been that they haven't made their minds up, and they
Mm,
will do an assessment at the end of the season.
yeah,
If they're telling the truth, then Ten Hag might have a chance. But
yeah, yeah. Like for me, like he's got a year remaining on his contract, and I'd be happy for him to see that out. Uh, Provided that now that there's structure above him and he's not involved in transfers, and see how that goes.
that's crucial. Yeah, that he's not involved in transfers anymore
Yeah.
because um, it says it all when Anthony didn't even play a single minute in that game yesterday and hasn't
Hmm.
done for weeks. He's been on the bench in each of the last 4 games, I think, and hasn't played
Yeah.
any role at all. Just a massive waste of money. So if Ten Hag wants to stay, then he's going to have to accept a diminished role when it comes to transfers.
Hmm.
And clearly, it's not his forte. Um,
Yeah.
no,
And
it's not
also
my
we got to
money.
keep in mind as well, like he wasn't the one negotiating the fees and stuff. So that side of things as well, I'm hoping we'll see a change in going forward with the new personnel.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult though because
Yeah,
when United come calling for a player,
yeah. There's
they,
always a premium, isn't there? But then I think the key is finding that balance where you're willing to walk away, and also having the scouting network so that you do have a backup plan and alternatives, so you're not held to
yeah,
ransom.
they need to have in each position that they're looking to sign someone. They need to have 5 players on the list, and if they,
Exactly, because I could see that kind of situation potentially happening this summer. If we go in for Jared Brathwaite from Everton.
yeah, you know what? If they're going to overcharge us, then they can piss
Yeah,
off. Let's move on
yeah,
to
yeah,
somebody else.
yeah. Because I think he's a good player. I like him, but obviously there is English tax as well, and they've survived relegation, and they'll want an inflated fee for him. And if we pay too much for him, I think it's going to be another Maguire type situation where we put too much pressure on the kid, and it's going to be a price tag that he can never live up to. But if it's a reasonable price, I do like him as a prospect. He's a beast of a player. He's proper tall as well.
Yeah, but when it comes to centre backs, there's so many good options out there at the
Hmm.
moment now. And we've been linked with a Brazilian guy who plays for Juventus. Uh,
Bremer.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I know.
obviously,
we keep hearing every year that Barcelona are in financial difficulty. Apparently, they're in a position where they can't pull any more levers, and they may have to sell. I don't know how realistic it is, but I do like that Ronald Araujo that they have.
Yeah, and no doubt Ten Hag will want Frankie de Jong again this summer.
Yeah, and with Araujo, I think he's Uruguayan as well, and I just think, oh, him and Martinez, yeah, the language and everything as well. Maybe there could be a connection there.
Yeah, and Todibo's been talked about again.
Yeah, and he's at the sister club as well, isn't it? Nice. Yeah. They also have one of Lilian Thuram's sons, Kefren, who's a DM, who looks to be on the move this summer. Could be available for, well, according to some reports, for around 15 to 20 million.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's plenty of options out there.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, again, we just have to wait and see, don't we? 'Cause at this moment in time, we don't even know if the manager's staying or going. So
No, we don't.
so many things up in the air. Whatever they decide, I just hope that they do it early. You don't want to be sat around, to the middle of summer before trying
Yeah,
to move.
you don't want it to become like Bayern Munich, where it descends into a farce. They have now
Yeah,
hired Vasan Company as their manager. Can you believe
which
that?
is the craziest move I think I've ever heard of. Getting Burnley relegated to the Bayern Munich job. He must
Yeah.
interview so well, so well.
I think they're
And also, what the hell is going on at Bayern? Because I've been hearing a whole plethora of managers turning that job down. So I don't know what's going on there, but it must be a absolute shambles behind the scenes.
which is so unlike them.
Yeah, yeah, because for so many years they were so well run. I know fairly recently they got rid of a lot of their higher ups, including Oliver Kahn, and people, because they've got a history as well of hiring ex players in positions.
Yeah, they certainly do. And when if you Google all their directors, and then you will find that they were players for Bayern in the 1980s
Yeah,
and
yeah,
1990s. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, all of them. So it's always been an internal structure as well. So I don't know what's happened, but something's going on there. Something's not right. I don't know. I don't know why all these other managers would turn that job down. And poor Harry Kane as well. He must be crying.
I
Um,
think, I
Went
think,
over there to win trophies, and it's their first
yeah,
trophyless league season in about 11 years.
yeah, he brought the Spurs curse to Munich.
Yeah, yeah. And then they've just gone and hired a manager who got Burnley relegated.
Yeah, and they signed Eric Dyer as well. It's
Yeah, yeah.
bizarre one. And
That was a very strange one. I mean, that's Tuchel tax, isn't it? I don't know what Tukes was thinking there.
maybe one of the reasons why managers aren't so keen on Bayern is because the board publicly criticised the manager while he's still
Mm,
there.
mm-hmm.
That's unprecedented. You know, the board making statements against the manager while he's still in post. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much togetherness
yeah.
at Bayern. It seems very
Mm-hmm.
divided at the moment.
Yeah, and on the last day as well. I mean, it all went Pete Tong. They gave up second place as well. They ended up slipping down to third, and Stuttgart finished second.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, poor old Harry Kane must feel cursed.
Hmm.
Because on a personal level, he had another outstanding season.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. I think he was Europe's top marksman. But yeah, like if it doesn't end in trophies, it's all a bit of a waste, isn't it? Poor guy.
Yeah, I think Bayern are hoping that company is the next Xavi Alonso, but I very much doubt that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's probably what they're gambling on. Just trying to get someone young and tenacious and trying to see what he's doing. Like, because I think it was kind of naive though to try and do it at Burnley, but there were some positives in how he was trying to play. You just can't do it at a Burnley.
yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, they just don't have the players to play that brand of
No,
football.
like as much as we criticize the likes of Sean Dyche, it's very necessary when you're managing those type of clubs.
Yeah, you have to be, you know, defensively solid when you're one of those
Yeah.
teams. Playing the ball out from the back is just not a good idea, really, unless you have the
Hmm.
players. Um, yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I think United should be communicating their decision by midweek. You know, we're
Absolutely. One way or the other, in the next week, they need to make it clear what they're doing.
yeah, it's Sunday now, the day after the cup final. They need to be telling everybody by Wednesday what's
Hmm.
happening. This cannot go on to mid June.
No, 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 no. It's got to happen ASAP. Really.
Yeah, because most clubs will already be have their transfer plans underway for next season,
Yep.
and clubs are buying players already,
Hmm.
and you know they're in a position to plan for
Yep.
August, whereas we're not in a position to plan at the moment.
Exactly. Even the likes of Man City. I mean, they've got this winger, Brazilian winger called Savio coming in, who's been at Girona this season, and he looks a real talent.
Yeah, he
You know, the
does.
fact that that kind of deal's already in place is just, this is what we're
And
competing with.
Newcastle are signing the centre back from Fulham on a free transfer. We've missed out on that.
Tossing, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm
I'm
not.
I'm hearing they have some FFP issues as well, and may have to sell one of their big players.
Bruno Guimaraes has been linked with a move away. Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
It'd
Uh,
be.
I'm sure there'll be interest in Isak as well from some clubs.
Yeah, they'll be devastated about that now.
Mm.
If they do have to
I'll
sell
tell you
one.
who I wouldn't mind taking from them. I wouldn't mind Sven Botman now that we've got a space at the back.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll want to sell anybody to us now.
No, no, yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah, because we're now competing for European spots with them, and I don't think they'll want
Yep.
to help us out or anything like that.
Hmm.
They must be absolutely dejected after thinking they'd qualified for Europe, and now they're not in Europe at all because United
Yeah,
won the FA Cup.
yeah, definitely.
And
For
a team
for
like
us, it's almost a little bit of a get out of jail free card. It just kind of makes up for the slump, because we really did just drop down in those last couple of weeks, and we shouldn't have been eighth.
yeah, I wouldn't have anticipated this finish to the season after we lost 4-0 at Palace.
Yeah,
It just shows
definitely.
what this team and this squad is actually capable of
Yeah, it
whenever.
was quite funny as well in the interview where because Ten Hag is just very blunt, and he just announced that we were shit against Palace,
Yeah,
and then they had to like sort of
he
remind him to watch his language.
yeah, he done an interview in Dutch during the week as well,
Yeah.
and he said, "No doubt we've been bad this season. We have been
Hmm.
crap. It's been crap."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And which is a total opposite to some of his post-match interviews where he's tried to say we played
Yeah,
well.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I did think it was very contrasting, but I think he knew as well that he was talking absolute bollocks after in those after game interviews. I think this is the first time he's been honest, and I think it is just a man who's relieved, uh, and now feels that he can speak openly.
Yeah, with the season being over, he can now be truthful and doesn't
Yeah.
have to,
Hmm.
sugarcoat things anymore and pretend as if everything's rosy when it's not. He was
Yep.
actually saying in his press conference yesterday after the game that you know we have gaps in the squad and we need more top
Mm.
players to come in. So he was essentially admitting that a lot of these players are not good enough, which is quite
Yeah.
blunt as well. Uh, he probably wouldn't have
And which
said
is
that.
true. I mean, we've seen this for a long time. When Ralph Ragnick was here, he called it out.
Yeah, I think Ranić was as much calling out the mentality as he was ability.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, but like I say, that's the thing about yesterday. That they've shown what they're capable of, but they just don't seem to have the mentality to do this every single week, which is
Hmm.
what they should be doing at Manchester United. But the manager definitely played a role in that. I know there's been injuries, but like I say, the tactical naivety has
Yep,
definitely been a major issue as well. I would
yep,
say if United had played had been compact rather than having this wide open midfield,
yeah.
if they done what they did yesterday, uh, all season and been compact
Oh,
in
we would have
games,
got fourth. We
yeah,
absolutely would have got fourth.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we missed out by what, 8 points in the end, and yeah, we would have been. We definitely would have got that.
So so if you look at it that way, Ten Hag only has himself to blame if he gets sacked.
Hmm.
100%. Um, but I'm really, you know, in midweek when the story came out from the Guardian, it was Jacob Steinberg broke the news that Ten Hag is going to be sacked regardless of what happens in the FA
Mm.
Cup final. That has not been confirmed by any other journalist. I think Jan Ager Furthoff, he's the
Yep.
Norwegian ex-Norwegian footballer and journalist now. He was saying that Ten Hag was told after the Palace game that he was going to be sacked.
Hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure anymore. I'm 50-50 on it now. I suppose in terms of what I want as well, I'm getting 50-50 on it now too.
Yeah,
Um, I
because
see,
if it is the likes of McKenna, you know it's a big transition, and you literally you start over from scratch again. You know,
yeah,
And I don't actually know too much about what he's done tactically and stuff at Ipswich. I've not followed them that closely, so again, I need to do some homework on how
I
he sets
seen
up and plays.
I seen a clip online of one of their goals, Ipswich,
Hmm.
and they basically played it out from the back, and it was a. It seemed as if all 11 players had a touch, and then they scored at the end of it. So it was a
Okay.
wonderful move. So he clearly likes to play. Like all young coaches now
Hmm.
play that type of football. Like there's no up and coming coach who plays football like Sam Allardyce anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Which is quite interesting, because to do that kind of style of football in the championship, where it's very physical and it's a long ass season with so many games, so it's makes it all the more impressive.
yeah, and the goal at the end of that move was an
Mm.
unbelievable goal as well. The finish just out of this
Yeah,
world.
I'll definitely have to check out more of what he's been up to, because yeah, I have to be honest, I don't. I mean, it's hard enough to follow just the Premier League and like the top European divisions, so I don't really have time for the lower end.
And they won the championship with largely a League One team as well.
Mm,
And
hmm.
that's the reason why he's so highly sought after, the manager. Um, but it is a massive step up to go to United now.
It's huge, isn't it? It's different. I know obviously he knows us very well and stuff, but yeah,
Yeah,
I would like to see him just one more year. I would like to see how he does in the Prem with an Ipswich.
he's held every single coaching role at United apart from being the manager.
Hmm.
I think he grew up as a United fan as well, so I think he'd absolutely jump at the chance to get the
Mm,
job.
hmm.
But let's see. I'm 50-50 now as to whether to let
Yeah,
Ten Hag see out his contract or bring McCann
yeah.
in now.
It's the fact that he's actually shown you that he can be competent when he wants to be, right? Like when he lets go of the stubbornness.
Yeah, but I think it's the it's the emotional high of winning the FA Cup that's making me say this
Mm.
though. And I know that. If we lost yesterday, I'd be calling for Ten Hag's head,
For me, I
100%.
think it's the thing of, he's already been here for 2 years. Like he knows the squad. The young players have a affinity towards him. The likes of Kobe and Nacho and all of them lot. So I just think, we'll be tearing it up and starting all over again.
Yeah, which I'd rather not do in an ideal
Yeah.
world.
And with
I
it given
also
another window, surely, like, we're getting a bit closer to where we need to be. Ah.
I seen yesterday at the end of the game, he was talking to Kobe and Garnacho,
Hmm.
um, in a quite passionate way. Obviously, don't know exactly what he
Yeah.
was saying, but it almost seemed like he was telling them, you two have a massive future. You're going to have great careers. But
Hmm.
that almost tells me that it was
He's
almost a
wishing them
goodbye,
well for the future,
like
kind of thing.
like he's saying goodbye to them, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's what it felt like.
yeah.
Um, I think he knows he's in serious danger of losing his job if he
Mm,
hasn't been told already.
yeah. What
Um,
I think is, what I also think though, is that with those guys, because he's the one that's really nurtured them and put them into the team, and I think those guys really trust him, and I think that could play a role in what we decide.
yeah, and obviously you've seen Martinez lift him up at the final whistle as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he also has a great rapport with him, as
Hmm.
you'd expect, given
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
worked.
Having worked with him at Ajax as well, yeah, brought him in, because I remember at that time under the previous regime, we were apparently quite interested in Pau Torres, and he had to insist that he wanted a Licha instead.
Well, he was right about that, 100%. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
give him. Have to give him credit for that because
Hmm.
Pau Torres has done okay at Aston Villa, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
swap
yeah.
him for Martinez.
Oh hell no, hell to the no. One of the few absolute hits we've had, and yeah, just a shame that his whole time here has just been ruined by injuries. Even last season, we didn't get a full season out of him, did we? So
No.
yeah, I just need him to be fit and healthy for a while.
Yeah, hopefully next season Martinez plays at least 30 out of the 38 Premier League games. That's what
Absolutely, and also yeah, this is why recruitment is also crucial because we need adequate cover. A bit like what
definitely.
City do with if I can give the example of Edison and Ortega. We know Ortega is not as good as Edison, but he fits the system and the style of play and stuff. Like we need to get like a B Tech Martinez almost to come off the bench if Martinez is out, so you can still continue to play the way you want to play.
Yeah, that's crucial, and that's why Man City are so successful because they have
Yeah,
two options in every position.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And they're just getting stronger. Like I said, yeah, watch out for this Savio kid when he comes over. It's going to be like another Jeremy Docker, and he can play both sides as well. Very pacey and skillful and stuff. So yeah, this is the kind of things that we need to start doing. And then we've got another one or two other decisions as well. I think well, it's going to be a domino effect, isn't it? Because depending on the manager, we've got to assess the Jadon Sancho situation. Can we cash in? Is he going to come back? That's all up in the air.
I don't think he's going to come back, and
Mm.
yeah, I don't see that happening. I think United will try to
I
cash
think
in
one
on
of
him.
him and Anthony are definitely going, but I don't know if we're going to sell them both this summer. That's the thing.
I think the issue with Anthony is anybody actually wanting him might be a problem.
Yes, you'd have to take a massive loss on him as well. So then you think, could we just keep him as a rotation option?
Well, it's like I said earlier, it says it all that he's been an unused sub for about 5 games
Yeah,
now.
he did have a little run though where he did improve. I do have to give him credit for that. Um,
Yeah, and
but
then
yeah,
regressed again. I think he
yeah.
had a great match against Chelsea in that game we lost
I'll tell you
4-3.
what, we need to see more of Ahmad Diallo next season.
Yeah, very unlucky not to play any part yesterday.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but I mean, he played a major role in us winning the FA Cup, of course,
Mhm,
scoring the winner against Liverpool
mhm.
in the quarterfinal.
And he's looked lively when given a chance. He's looked lively, and yeah, I hope that gives me a bit of hope. I
Yeah,
don't know how I feel about these Elise links. 60 million, I think, is a lot of money. And especially when we need a centre back, I don't
yeah,
know how I feel on spending another big chunk on
mm,
another winger, especially before we get rid of the excess that we have.
yeah. I would prioritise another striker to be honest over Elise.
Mm, that's
Yeah,
also an interesting one because yeah, we can't go into next season with just
there's a.
bloody Hoyland.
I don't know if you listened to it. Both men have been on my show. Phil De Bruyne and James Rhodes from the United Muppeteers. They do a
Yeah.
podcast together every
Hmm.
week. One of them is a big fan of Michael Elise, and the other one thinks we should sign a striker. And I agree with
Okay.
Phil. I agree with Phil. I think we need a striker more than a winger,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest with you,
Okay.
because
I
we've
mean,
got a mad in that position.
in an ideal world, I'll take both. But yeah, yeah. No, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. We've got Ahmad, and we've not even given him a proper chance. I would like to see how he develops.
because yeah, we've got a mad in that position. It's Garnacho's best position, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So you can argue that we don't really need Michael Elise as good as he is.
Mm,
Hoyland does need support. We need another striker, in my
absolutely,
view.
absolutely. Yeah, can't go into any kind of season with just one guy.
I thought it was
Uh,
quite blunt of Ten Hag to say we only have one striker this season. You know,
but it's truthful, isn't he? He's truthful.
good.
See, this is the kind of thing I like. I don't like when they sugarcoat things and just talk nonsense. I'd rather you just be honest because we see it.
Yeah, so he's being honest yesterday,
Yeah,
in the sense that he doesn't even see Martial as an option anymore,
yeah,
and
no, no.
we we as fans have felt that way for a very long time.
For a very long time, yeah, he's not been an option for ages. It's
Apparently,
criminal that he was still here.
he's been training for weeks and he's not
Mm,
getting in the matchday squad. What
poor
does that
guy.
say?
Poor guy. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands because I don't even think he's going to continue playing football for that long.
And to see if he wasn't playing football anymore, I don't even think he'd care.
Yeah.
That's the vibe you get from his body
Mm,
language. He just doesn't seem to really give a shit.
mm.
But could be. I don't know the guy. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, that could just be his face. Like, some people are just not very excitable. He's just a bit
Yeah,
expressionless. He's always been expressionless though, even as a teen. Yeah, but I just don't think his body's built for this.
no, it's not.
Unless he goes to one of those, proper
You,
quiet leagues. I don't know
you
what he
see,
does.
if he goes to Saudi,
Yeah.
it'll end up being a Neymar situation where he gets paid a lot of money for
hmm
doing very little.
Oh, talking of, on Sky News yesterday, they were interviewing a few of the Saudi, the players that had gone over to Saudi from the Premier League last year, and they spoke to Mitrovic. Did you know he's on 42 million over 2 years?
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Ridiculous,
crazy.
ridiculous. He's living life.
That's mad.
Yeah, yeah. They spoke to him, and they spoke to Ruben Neves as well. And yeah, Ruben Neves is on 6 times as much as what he was on at Wolves. Um, and that one actually, he's a player where he really could have got. He should be in like a top six team.
And it shows you how badly Jordan Henderson struggled to settle over there. That
Yeah, that he had to walk away from all of those millions.
yeah, he ended up in Amsterdam of all
Yeah.
places, playing for Ajax. And apparently, it hasn't really gone that well,
No, no.
and he's out of the
He's,
England squad
he's
now.
yeah out of the English squad, rightly
Well, the
so.
one good thing, assuming that we're keeping Rashford,
hmm
is that he's going to have a summer off now.
Yes. Also, I wanted to ask you on that actually. Do you think being left out of the England squad may have given him a little push, and do you think that would have contributed to the performance we saw from him yesterday?
I think it's possible. Yeah, it was the kick up the backside that he needed. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, a bit of a reality check, like you can't just rely on who you know and that because I thought it was quite refreshing from Gareth Southgate because one of the things that he's been criticised for is that he just chooses his favourites irrespective of form.
yeah, the provisional squad that he's picked is largely players have been picked on form, except
hmm
for Jack Grealish, who shouldn't be
Yeah,
in there.
but
Um,
again, until he cuts that squad that we don't know if he's going to make the cut.
yeah, he may not make the cut, and he shouldn't because
Yeah,
he's hardly played this season.
yeah. He hasn't really done it, which is quite surprising because last year I thought he was exceptional. I thought he was going to push on after that. But maybe Pep's had an issue with his partying.
Is I was going to ask you, do you think City were partying too hard after winning 4 titles in a row?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Jack Grealish, I mean, yeah, he's the man at all the parties. I think last season they were reporting last summer, they he was spotted in the kit like 3 days after the cup final.
Yeah, he's really known for his benders, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's still only 28 as well. It'll be interesting to see if they try to cash in on him.
I
Uh,
remember seeing a video of him on holiday in Spain, and he
yeah,
passed out on the pavement.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, he's been known for this for much of his career, even from when he was very young. Yeah, if he, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they cash in. If not, I can see him running down his contract and just going back to Aston Villa.
Uh, yeah, I could see him in going back there. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's a boyhood Villa
yeah,
fan,
he's
and
he's a legend over there, isn't he? And then yeah, they'll
yeah,
they'll love him. They'll love him.
even if it's not this year, I think eventually that'll
hmm
happen.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing about yesterday that just came into my head was that before the match started, they were doing the predictions on the BBC, and Rooney said United would win 2-1, and I was thinking he's been very optimistic there. But I tell you what, next time Rooney makes a prediction, I'm going straight on to the Sky Bet to place a bet on that scoreline.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you would have met. You would have come across too
Do-
many of us that would have just, wholeheartedly believed it. Obviously, we have blind faith and belief, and you go into everything hoping for a win. But yeah, uh,
Um, yeah, we were hoping rather than expecting, and
yeah,
it
that's
it
exactly what
happened.
it was. It was a pleasant surprise, especially the way we played as well. Because even I thought if we could get a win, oh, all the stars have to align. It's going to be by a miracle. It's going to be by a fluky goal or something. It wasn't that at all, and that was, I think, the bit
Yeah,
that made me the most proud. The
we
fact
scored.
that we actually played well.
We scored couple of good goals. We should have scored more, and we largely restricted them to efforts outside the box, from outside the
Yep,
box. Yeah,
yep. Everybody did their job.
they never
Uh,
really got going, Man City.
no, they really didn't. They really didn't. And the only thing that invigorated them was obviously the mistake that led to Doku's goal. And thankfully,
Yeah,
it didn't cost us. Because my worry was that would give them the momentum, and then it would be 2-2. And if they took us into extra time, I think our players would have been shattered. You know.
yeah. In many ways, it was like the derby at the Etihad under Solskjaer in 2019, where we went
Mm,
2-0 up and then conceded a late goal and then hung on. You know,
hmm
it was similar to that. I think it was
Yeah.
Rashford and Martial who scored that
For,
day.
for neutrals, I bet they loved it. I bet that made the last 10 minutes interesting. for,
Yeah,
for me, my blood pressure just went through the roof.
yeah, it was the anxiety was tenfold in those last 10 minutes or so, and then the
Yeah,
7 minutes added on as well. You're like,
yeah.
no,
7 minutes. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah, the relief of winning that free kick at the end
Oh,
was
yeah,
massive.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's our 13th FA Cup, just one behind Arsenal
Just
now,
one
and
behind Arsenal.
and nobody else has won more than 8, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, after all the praise Arteta and Arsenal were getting, we finished with a trophy and they didn't.
Just like last season.
Hmm hmm
So yeah, all the goals and all the points they've got, and in the last 2 seasons, and all the praise, as you say,
Yep,
and yet we've had a better season than them, just like last
yep,
year.
yep.
We've had a better season than Liverpool as well,
hmm
because like winning the FA Cup is more prestigious than winning the
Then the
League Cup.
Carabao. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, happy days. We finished a dreadful season on a very high note, and
Yep.
I would have been happy if we had beaten Hull City in the final, but the fact we beat Manchester City in the
It
final,
just makes
is,
it that bit sweeter, doesn't it?
yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we're heading into another 3 months of the transfer merry-go-round.
Yep.
Um, so I'll be here throughout the summer. No doubt you'll be on with me a few times, Bruce, discussing
Absolutely. Yep.
the ins and
Yep.
outs.
Yeah. We enter the funny season. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll have some good news to report on and can get excited about.
And
Because I
when we
remember
link,
last summer when we were speaking about Mason Mount, I think we were both sat here just a bit confused,
yeah, and then so far it hasn't worked out.
and we still are confused.
Yeah, even when he's fit, which he hasn't been for most of the season, where does he even
Yeah.
fit into this team?
Yeah. That's the thing.
Anyway, we shall leave it there. Thanks everyone for listening and watching, and please smash a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast if you're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever, and get more of your comments in, and I will get back to as many of those as possible. And hope you enjoy your weekend, my United fans, and I'm sure you will. And I shall see you again, Brush.
Yeah. Definitely. Take care.
See ya.